It's really disheartening because I did want to vote. I did want to actually exercise my right to vote, especially knowing how disillusioned young people are with our political process, how hard it is to get young people to participate. Like, we definitely don't need more barriers to young people trying to get involved. I showed up with my student ID at Duke and my driver's license that was from Georgia, where my family lives and where I, grew up and went to high school. And the person who was working at the polls said, "Oh, this is North Carolina. You need a North Carolina ID to vote," and was telling me that my student ID didn't count. And so I was like, "Okay, I don't have that. How can I vote? Like, what can I do?" And she was like, "Well, you can either bring a passport," which I didn't have, "or you could go to the DMV, get a North Carolina ID, and then you can come back and vote." And I remember it was like only like 2 or 3 days left to vote. I mean, first of all, no, I wouldn't have actually been able to go to the DMV within 2 or 3 days and get a North Carolina ID because I didn't have the documents that I needed. My birth certificate was at my parents' house, social security number, all those documents that you need to show when you go to the DMV, I didn't have in my possession at the time. Didn't have a way to get off campus, didn't know how I was gonna get off campus in 2 to 3 days. I was a full-time student, so finding that time would have been really, really difficult. Also, must be filled out in black ink, so if people need pens, I brought pens. And I also brought t-shirts, if anybody... At the time, I definitely wouldn't have used the word like suppressed or voter repression or suppression to describe my experience because it didn't feel like what people usually call voter suppression. The more educated I became on voting, not only like voting rights work that's happening now, but even just the history of voting rights work, and became more involved in voting rights work, told my story to more people, was able to process, I was like, oh yeah, that is what voter suppression looks like nowadays. It looks like these kind of subtle, not very aggressive tactics that just chip away at the electorate and chip away at the franchise. And we've been here before. We know what the impact of these laws are. We know who are going to be impacted by that. It's 2018. We shouldn't still be having debates about whether people should have the right to vote or not. And we deserve better. We deserve fair democracy. We deserve our access to vote, and that shouldn't be something that is even debatable.